Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Hey! Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Nachari Jamuna Tira Nachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Sri Radha Madhava ki Sri Radha Damodar ki Sri Radha Giridhari ki jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariviraj ki jai jai Shodhara Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Savai Charanaravind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Bhubhari ki jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariviraj ki jai jai Shodhara Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Bhubhari ki jai Nantakoti Vaishnavarind ki jai Gandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Sri Virabhadra Mahajan's appearance day ki jai, Shri Kartika Bhakti ki jai, Go Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So I noticed yesterday you did the readings first.
I did.
And then went into class. So we'll follow along with that. And if you'd like, I'll read about Sriman Virabhadra Prabhu, I have here. And then if you like, I'd like to read a few selections from the Sri Damodar Mahatmya, or Kartika Mahatmya. Just a few selections I read every year about the benefits of the different austerities or bratas one can take, and especially the offering of a lamp.
Okay.
Is that okay? Just to enliven the devotees from the Kartika Mahatmya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Excuse me. Well, it could actually be quite useful having that demolition across the street. Keep the devotees awake during class. Every once in a while, it's bam! Hare Krishna Prabhu. See? Very nice. Works. Okay. So, it's taken from the Vaishnav calendar. Sri Virabhadra's appearance. Sri Virachandra or Virabhadra Prabhu appeared on the 9th day of the dark fortnight of the month of Kartika. That's today. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has given this description of him in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Adi Leela. Quote, after Nityananda Prabhu, the greatest branch is Virabhadra Goswami, who also has innumerable branches and sub-branches. So there's a chapter in the Chaitanya Charitamrita comparing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement to a tree. And as it expands with all the different big branches and little branches and leaves, and he's describing the devotees in that way on this particular branch. And he says ISKCON is one of those branches on the tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. And he's saying here, Lord Nityananda is the greatest branch on that tree, but right after him is Virabhadra, his son. So just like ISKCON is one of the big branches in this tree, Prabhupada is the most important person, but who's the next one in line? Saying, wow, whoever that is, or will be, it's extremely important devotee. So extremely important devotee. It is not possible to describe all the different branches. Although Virabhadra Goswami was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he presented himself as a great devotee. Yeah. And although the Supreme Godhead is transcendental to all Vedic injunctions, he strictly followed the Vedic rituals. He is the main pillar in the hall of devotional service erected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. He knew within himself that he acted as the Supreme Lord Vishnu, but externally he was prideless. I guess if you're God, you could be really proud. But part of Krishna's qualities, he's prideless, right? Okay. I therefore take shelter at the lotus feet of Virabhadra Goswami, so that by his mercy, my great desire to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita will be properly guided, unquote. Sri Virabhadra Goswami is the son of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and the disciple of Sri Jahnava Mata. His mother is Srimati Vasudha Devi. Those are two sisters that married Lord Nityananda. Jahnavi. Okay. In the Gora Ganodesha Dipika, it is described that Sri Virachandra Prabhu is an incarnation of Kshirodakasayi Vishnu, one of the expansions of Sri Sankarshan. He is thus not different from Lord Chaitanya himself. Once upon a time, Ishwara, Sri Jahnava Mata, I guess she's called Ishwari, Sri Jahnava Mata, went to the house of Jadunandanacharya of Jamatpur near Rajbol Hat. And by her mercy he became a devotee. Jadunandan's wife was extremely devoted to her husband, and his two daughters, Srimati and Narayani, possessed bodily forms which excelled the limits of mortal beauty. By the desire of Ishwari, that very perfect Brahmana gave these two daughters in marriage to Prabhu Virachandra. Sri Arunandanacharya became the disciple of Virachandra Prabhu, and Srimati and Sri Narayani were given initiation into mantra by Sri Jahnava Mata. Virachandra Prabhu had a sister, Srimati Ganga Devi, who was none other than Mother Ganga herself. Quite a wonderful family. Okay. Her husband, Madhavacharya, was an incarnation of Raj Shantanu. Taking permission from, that makes sense, Shantanu married Ganga. Okay. Taking permission from his mother, Virachandra Prabhu set out on a pilgrimage to Vrindavan. First he came to Saptagram and proceeded to the house of Sri Udarana Datta Thakur, where he was met by Udarana Datta's son, Srinivas Datta. Srinivas greeted him with respect and showed him all hospitality for 2 days, the 2 days that he stayed there. From there he went to Shantipur, where he was led to Advaita Bhavan in a kirtan procession by Advaitacharya's son, Sri Krishna Mishra. Next he crossed the Ganges and came to Gauradas Pandit's house in Ambika Kalna. Sri Chaitanya Prabhu respectfully greeted him and honored him as his guest. From there he came to Navadvip, to the house of Jagannath Mishra. When the family members and associates of Mahaprabhu learned that he was the son of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, they were highly pleased and showed him all courtesies. After spending 2 days there, he came to Sri Khanda, where he was greeted very respectfully and affectionately by Sri Raghunananda and Sri Kanai Thakur. He spent a few days there and then went to Srivas Acharya Prabhu's house in Jagigram, where Acharya Prabhu received his exalted guest by offering him the appropriate worship. So it just goes on about all these different places he went to. Oh, then he went on to Keturi. I think this is the first festival. As soon as he received news of his arrival, Sri Narottam Thakur came out in great ecstasy to meet Sri Virachandra Prabhu. He led him to the courtyard of the temple of Sri Gauranga, where the Sankirtan, accompanied with ecstatic dancing, commenced. A steady crowd of people thronged to get a glimpse of Prabhu Virachandra. After spending a few days in Keturi in ecstatic Sankirtan, Virachandra Prabhu set off for Sri Vrindavan Dham. Along the way, many sinful and atheistic people were delivered by his influence. As news of arrival reached Vrindavan, the Goswamis, namely Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Anantacharya, Sri Haridas Pandit, Sri Krishnadas Brahmachari, Sri Madhu Pandit, Sri Bhavananda, Sri Kaishishwara, as well as his disciples Sri Govinda Goswami and Sri Yadavacharya were all informed. So they all came and met him and had a big ecstatic kirtan. After receiving the consent of Sri Jiva Goswami and Sri Bhugarbha Goswami, he set out to wander in the 12 forests of Brajmandala, becoming completely overwhelmed by seeing the various places of Krishna's pastimes, like Sri Radhakund, Sri Shamakund, and Sri Govardhan. His display of ecstatic symptoms captivated all of the Brijbasis. After seeing the sights of Sri Brajadam, Virachandra Prabhu returned to Godadesh, back to Bengal. All of the divine qualities of his father, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, were fully present in him. Those who were fortunate enough to witness his ecstatic love praise his glories far and wide. Let's see. It talks about his descendants. I have a question. Yes. Yes.
And the calendar says Virabhadra.
Same person.
Really? Okay.
In the very beginning of this article, it said Virachandra Virabhadra.
All right, because there's another Virachandra enlisted in the CC here.
Yeah.
All right.
Because this is right on the calendar for today. That's where I pulled it up. This one. Yeah, but in the very beginning of the article, it said use both names. Yeah. The son of Nityananda. Yeah, the Vaishnav calendar app. Okay. It says Sri Virabhadra's parents' day, and the article starts, Sri Virachandra or Virabhadra Prabhu appeared on this particular day. Okay. So let's take shelter of, pray to him for some kindness and mercy as the next biggest branch on the tree of Lord Chaitanya after Lord Nityananda, to bless us with, empower us to help with the Sankirtan movement, spreading of Krishna consciousness. Okay, here's a few selections taken from the Kartika Mahatmya about this month and how auspicious it is in your performance of any varieties of devotional service. I mark some things. Okay, so here's the thing called the general virtues of this month, how powerful it is. It says, the merits accrued by bathing in all holy places, and there's a lot of them, right? Hare Krishna? We're having a class here. You can assist them somewhere else, like that. Okay. The merits accrued by bathing in all holy places and by performing all sorts of charity cannot match the results attainable in this month, even if multiplied by millions. So why those devotees go to India? They should just stayed here. I'm kidding. They're enjoying the Kartika and the holy Dham. O Narada, the merits and demerits obtained during Kartika are like rivers, mountains, and oceans, in that they are never exhausted. There is no month equal to Kartik, no yuga equal to Satya Yuga, no scripture equal to the Veda, and no tirtha equal to the Ganga. O great sage, this is the best month and is always dear to Vaishnavas. By serving Kartik with devotion, a Vaishnav can deliver any of his ancestors who are suffering in hell. That's from the Skanda Purana, dialogue between Lord Brahma and Narada Muni. Of the 12 months, this month is particularly dear to Sri Krishna. Sri Vishnu certainly rewards the devotee who worships him during Kartik with residence in his own abode, even if worshipped with minimum items. Damodar is famous as Bhakta Vatsala, and his month imbibes his characteristics. It rewards even a tiny effort with huge results. So what happens if you have huge efforts? Off the charts. There you go. Of all living species, the ephemeral human form is seldom achieved by the incarnated being, and throughout his existence, the month of Kartik, which is so dear to Hari, is even rarer. Okay, so this is so that's the month, and here's something about the different vratas, things you can do in the month to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. It says, in this world, the results of vows last for one lifetime only. But the effects of Kartik vratas extend up to 100 lives. Okay. Just see where I've marked things here. Okay. O excellent Brahmana, charity, penance, homa, fire sacrifices, and japa all give unfading results when performed during Kartik. Moreover, whatever one donates, as we still have to work on Darpan about the ashram across the street, whatever one donates, especially edibles, people bring, bhog for the deities, for Lord Vishnu's satisfaction yields perpetual results. So perpetual, what does that mean? It just keeps going, right? Whoever sits in swastika asana, do you know what swastika asana is? Well, one leg goes like this and one leg goes like that. You see pictures of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting in swastika asana. And during this month is rewarded with a full year worth of Agnihotra sacrifices. Does anyone want to pose? Want to quickly sit like that? Probably we can't, most of us. Like that, too. A woman who draws a mandala, it's a design, with a rice flower and everything like that, in the temple of Keshava will shine in heaven like a kapoti bird. Wow. And that's a dove. Like a dove in heaven. The man who regularly offers meals to Vishnu, Tyler, do you hear this? Mahabharat? Regularly offers meals to Sri Vishnu during Kartik will not meet with calamities throughout the reign of 14 Indras. got to be a good offering, though. That's the byline here. Okay. By eating on leaves of the Brahma tree, all past sins are annihilated, every desire is fulfilled, the merit of every pilgrimage accrues, and hell will never be seen. O great sage, this Palasha tree is also known as Brahma, for it fills any desire. A Shudra, however, that's weird about skipping different parts of the meals, but it's a special kind of leaf. If you eat on it during Kartik, Prasadam, so much benefits are there. Donating sesame, bathing in a river, hearing saintly discourses, serving saintly persons, and eating on this particular type of leaf called a Brahma leaf, or Palasha tree, all confer liberation when performed during Kartik. In this month, the merit of donating 1,000 cows accrues to the person who is awake in front of Damodar at dawn. And Sri Vishnu's abode is at hand for someone who's awake during the last yama of the night. So many times during Kartik, people stay up all night long and they're chanting throughout the night. Kartik Vrata is like serving saints, feeding cows, hearing holy speeches, worshipping Vishnu, and being awake during the last 3 hours of the night. I guess that's also like Mangalartik, right? It's dark. It's still dark. Okay. Are all rare feats in the age of Kali. The benefit of donating thousands of Jala Denus. It's a special thing, a design in the ground, and there's cow dung and a kalash with sacred water in it. But when the sun is in Taurus, can be achieved in this month merely by ablutions. O Narada, just by passing this month in the merriment of music, one may not take birth again. I personally witnessed this. So. It says, during Kartik, every step taken while circumambulating Sri Vishnu's temple yields the benefit of an Ashrameta sacrifice. By singing, playing, or dancing with devotion before the Lord, one reaches the eternal realm. By reading Sri Hari's 1,000 names, or the episode of Gajendra's liberation during this month, one will never again experience birth or death. So, all these different benedictions like that. And thousands of offenses and even the greatest sins of someone who worship Lord Hari during Kartik will all be forgiven. And if he offers to Sri Vishnu his favorite candied sugar and sweet rice with ghee and honors the Lord's arrangements, he gains the same merit of performing sacrifices day after day. Those who bathe, stay awake, offer lamps, and care for Tulsi during Kartik will attain a form similar to Lord Vishnu. Okay. Okay. Now, specific types of brata, the main thing is the offering of lamps. So there's something in here about, I marked it off years ago. So there's a lot of descriptions here. Okay, let's just see what it says here. The sins accumulated in millions of kalpas, that's a long time, vanish in an instant when a diya is offered during Kartik. So next time you stand there and you offer the clay diya, it says here, sins accumulated in millions and millions of kalpas vanish in an instant when you do that. O great Brahmana, listen to the diyas, the lamps' virtues which are dear to Keshava. By offering a diya or lamp during this month, a person will not take a birth again on earth. This Dipadan, or offering lamps, bestows all the benefits available at Kurukshetra during solar eclipses or at Narmada during lunar eclipses, multiplied by millions and millions. O great sage, the value of Ashrameta sacrifices of someone who in the month lights... O great sage, what is the value of Ashrameta sacrifices for someone who in this month lights a ghee lamp or an oil lamp? So just showing how auspicious it is. O O Brahmana, since time immemorial the ancestors are praying, if a scion who can please Lord Keshava by this Dipadan would appear in our lineage, we would certainly all become liberated by the mercy of the Lord who has a chakra in his hand. So in other words, all of your forefathers, parents, grandparents, great-parents, they're all getting immense benefit every time you offer a lamp. Like that. You've appeared in their lineage. Like that. Whether they prayed for it or not. Here's an interesting one. In this month, O great Brahmana, a person who illuminates Lord Keshava's temple, even for the sake of gambling. You guys aren't shooting craps upstairs, are you? Are you gambling or anything? But even if you were to do that, like sometimes in India you have these old temples, so even you light it up during the month of Kartika with lamps because you're going to have some gambling, purifies his family for up to 7 generations. And those who kindle this Kartik Diya in a temple of Lord Kesha will prosper with wealth, progeny, good reputation, and fame, just as friction manifests the fire inherent in any wood, so this Dipadan undoubtedly manifests Dharma in any action. So, okay. And it says if someone's lamp is starting to go out and you get it going again, you can reach the supreme destination, especially if it's on Ekadasi. And that's that story about the mouse. It's described here on the altar. The lamp was going out, he was chewing on the ghee, and his whiskers caught on fire, and the lamp lit up again. And he died, but he got liberated because he lit up the lamp again on Ekadasi during Kartik. And there's all kinds of different lamps described here. There's a lamp like in India, they're the big lamps on top of the temples. That's why Aurangzeb came to Vrindavan to destroy Rupa Goswami's temple, because the temple was so big, and they had the big lamp up there, and he saw it all the way from Agra. He said, "What's that? Is that a star or something?" He said, "No, it's the beautiful temple." Well, they probably didn't say beautiful. The Radha Govinda temple in Vrindavan. He was so infuriated. He marched there, and they destroyed the top 3 or 4 stories of that temple, demolished it. And they were going to continue, but there was some sound or something like that. They all got scared and stopped. But so there's lights on top of the temples, light up temples outdoors, in other words. You can do that. And then sometimes you see these varieties of strings of lights like that. Many different ways that you can light up the temple and so on. So, and we're going to stop here. We got 5 minutes for class, so we'll get through this one verse. Is that okay? Ready? We need them to make some noise across the street. Okay, this is text 43. Here we go. Etara dharmo vingyata stanam dandasya yujyate sarve karmanurodhena dandamarhanti karinaha etara dharmo vingyata stanam dandasya yujyate sarve karmanurodhena dandamarhanti karinaha. Anyone like to chant? Etara dharmo vigyata etara dharmo vigyata sthanam dandasya yujyate sarve karmanurodhena dandamarhanti karina etara dharmo vigyata sthanam dandasya yujyate dandamarhanti karina etara dharmo vigyata sthanam dandasya yujyate Sarvakamanurudinda Dandam Nartikarinaha. Etai. By all these witnesses beginning from the sun god. Adharma, deviation from regulative principles. Bhigyata is known. Sthanam, the proper place. Dandasya, of punishment. Yujyate is accepted as. Sarve, all. Karma anurodhena, with consideration of the activities performed. Dandam, punishment. Arhanti, deserve. Karinaha, the performers of sinful activities. Translation: the candidates for punishment are those who are confirmed by these many witnesses to have deviated from their prescribed regulative duties. Everyone engaged in fruitive activities is suitable to be subjected to punishment according to his sinful acts. Text 44. Sambhavanti hi badrani viparitani chanagaha. Karinam guna sangosti dehavana yakarma krit. Translation: O inhabitants of Vaikuntha, you are sinless, but those within this material world are all karmis, whether acting piously or impiously. Both kinds of action are possible for them because they are contaminated by the three modes of nature and must act accordingly. One who has accepted a material body cannot be inactive, and sinful action is inevitable for one acting under the modes of material nature. Therefore, all living entities within this material world are punishable. Purport: the difference between human beings and non-human beings is that a human is supposed to act according to the direction of the Vedas. Unfortunately, men manufacture their own ways of acting without reference to the Vedas. Therefore, all of them commit sinful actions and are punishable. Om Agyantimarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unminitam Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shindvaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaur Bhakti Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakapatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevaja Patitanam Bhavani Bhu Vaishnavi Bhu Namo Namaha. All glories to the assembled devotees. So, looks pretty dreary, according to these verses, right? Everyone in the material world is a karmi. Everyone is a candidate for punishment by Yamaraj. And the very nature, karmi means someone who's trying to enjoy this material world. They're performing their karma, and sometimes those actions, that karma is pious, and sometimes it's impious. And that's just the nature of this material world, and whether we perform something pious or impious, it's the modes of material nature, according to this verse here. As long as we are karmatmakam, colored by the desire to enjoy the modes of material nature, we are going to do something which is going to create some problems for us in the future. That's the very nature of the material world. Prakriti stani karshati. It's a struggle, and it's guaranteed. Actually, anything we do on the material platform is going to cause a problem. What? Well, someone just won the lottery. Did you see that? According to the billboard on Route 8, the one on the right-hand side was very close to $500 million. And then on Monday when I came here, it's back down to $20 million, which that's where they started. So someone won, whether they take 40% or 60%. It's a 40-60 split. Let's say they take 40% of that. So you got a few $100 million. Now someone could say, that's a blessing. But for many times, it's actually a curse. All the suffering, you think, how could they be suffering if I won $300 million? What could go wrong? Well, there's all kinds of books written about what goes wrong when people win the lottery, right? Because you're trying to enjoy in the material world, that very mentality means a lot of things are going to go wrong. Do things go wrong in the heavenly planets? Is Indra ever in trouble? Why he has all those eyes all over his body? We don't talk about that. So he's the king of heaven, not just living in heaven, but he's the king of heaven. He's actually blonde. Did you know that? Indra's blonde. He's blonde. He's like Sridhar Maharaj says, he's like kind of like a California surfer dude. You know, buff, little tan, blonde, quite handsome. And Narada Muni has reddish hair, according to the. No, this is naturally blonde. And Narada Muni actually has red hair. Do you know that? Reddish hair, according to the Vedas. So anyways, the point is, he's the king of heaven. Does he have any problems? He's got problems. Like that. He's got problems, all kinds of problems. So the very nature of this material world, because we're trying to enjoy it, we got problems. And that's even a pious person has problems. How about an impious person? More problems. They're multiplied. So the Yamadutas are just pointing it out here. Wait a second. I mean, everyone in this material world is a candidate for that, tap on the shoulder. Actually, they don't tap you on the shoulder. They just rip you out of your body and bring you to Yamaraj. But you can, that little, love tap there. You're going to Yamaraj. We're all candidates. You have to be very, very careful. You have to be very, very careful in this material world. So everyone's a candidate. So why in the world would Ajamila not be going off to Yamaraj? That's the first state they're making. I mean, everyone in the material world, and look what his, who is it, Maharaj said last week, rap sheet? Ajamila's rap sheet about all the things he's done wrong. Why wouldn't he be going? But the short class we're giving today on this is just the being conscientious of anything that's not Krishna conscious, anything that's not sat, just like in the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Om Tat Sat, those words are there. So everything has to be sat. That means in the direction of our eternal benefit. And if it's not, we are, what do they say, walking on thin ice? Probably don't say that too much here in San Diego because you don't have any much thin ice here, but right, where you're from. There's thin ice, thick ice. We don't have any like that. But it's dangerous. Okay. We've got a global warming factor here. That's true. So all the ice is getting thin, right? So we have to be very, very careful. Whatever plans we make, and there's so many different stories are there of personalities, but even the Bhagavad Gita, Kshine Punyamarcha Lokam Bishanti, you go to the heavenly planets, you come back down. It just goes on and on and on and on. And we probably have visited Yamaraj, not for kirtan, but for other reasons, a few times. I imagine we have been there. What are you laughing about? It's not a laughing matter. I'm not picking up. It's true. It's true. And we forget. We forget our problems, right? That you go to the dentist, you get all that drilling and all that, then you forget. You forget it. Whatever the suffering might be, we just forget. The tortures of Yamaraj. And it's right here in the first verse, though, he says, in Sanskrit, Arhanti. Dandam Arhanti. It's what we deserve. What is suffering? It is the payback for the suffering we've caused others. Because in other words, there's a dreary picture, like I said in the beginning of the class. So what kind of God creates a world like this where everyone's suffering so much and you got to go to Yamaraj and you're punished? And couldn't he make a nicer arrangement where everyone's just having a good time? Like that? Couldn't we all just get along? Has he said that? Rodney King? Right? Couldn't we all just get along? Couldn't Krishna just make it like just everything's wonderful? He did. But we screwed it up, as they say. And we have caused so much suffering to others, and that's going to come back to us. That's only fair. That's only fair. How can you have a progressive life or a culture unless people are punished for their wrongdoings? You can't. Can you imagine a society where no one is punished for anything they do wrong? What would happen? I mean, it's bad enough as it is. But if there was just like, say, okay, In fact, where was it? Like, was it in Portland? They defunded the police department. Was it Portland? Something like that. And there's very few policemen, and they defunded it because of the whole thing with the homeless and this. So I remember I was up there recently doing a wedding, and someone was telling me about that. It's like, things are a little out of hand. You call the police, it's like, it's going to take a while before they get there because they defunded the police department, something like that. So you imagine just disbanded the whole thing. We don't need police. We don't need the sheriff's department. We don't need anything. We don't need the army, the air. Everyone just get along. Is it going to happen? No, it's not. It's not in the least like that. People should be, it should be fair and just, but if someone encroaches upon the freedoms and rights of others, there should be some reaction to that. It's not appropriate. And the material world is full of living entities encroaching upon the rights and freedoms and lives of others. It's the material world. As you're saying, because of the modes of material nature, the lower we go in the modes of ignorance and passion, things get very, very violent, isn't it? That's a word to use, violent. It gets very violent because there's no compassion for the lives of others. So things get violent because we want our sense gratification, and other living entities are in the way or are useful. And therefore there's violence. So it's very, very sad and unfortunate situation in the age of Kali. So the good news, though, is that Krishna hasn't created a miserable place. This is the material world. And there's different arrangements for, even though one may be very, very sinful, one can counteract that in a moment. And that's just what we just read about. Come to the temple of Vishnu, you simply offer a lamp. Krishna says, it's forgiven. So Krishna is very, very kind and very, very merciful. So the process of devotional service, and that we brought up, the chanting of the holy names, it just erases it all. Because the heart becomes purified. If the heart doesn't become purified, it doesn't get erased because you're just going to do it again and again and again. Why does it all get erased? Because one's heart becomes purified. There's no need. If someone is rectified when they go to prison or get a fine or whatever, and they say, I'm never going to do this again. I'm over. I'm over it. You know? You cheat on your taxes, and then they come and say, okay, Prabhu, it's a $100,000 fine. What are you going to think next time about cheating on your taxes? Right? It's such a heavy punishment or whatever. So, okay. So, the punishment is there, but sooner or later someone, that's it. That's why you're no longer a threat. You've learned your lesson. Now, it would have been nicer to learn your lesson by hearing. It says an intelligent person learns their lesson by hearing, and a fool learns their lesson by punishment or bitter experience. Like that, bitter experience. So we don't want to have, but it's whatever way it takes, one learns their lesson, and then like that. But unless one is purified in heart and understands the goal of life being something spiritual, Krishna consciousness, one will always be subjected to being pulled by the modes of material nature. One has to become gunatit instead of gunamayi. You know those two terms? Gunatit means above the modes of nature. Gunamayi means you're wallowing, swimming, drowning in the modes of material nature. So we have to become gunatit. We have to rise above, and that's by the process of, what was that? Abjabachena? Yeah. Sevate, sagunan samatitaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. By full engagement in the Lord's devotional service, one rises above the modes of material nature and comes to the level of Brahman. So that's what we have to endeavor. So that's a short class. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Maitreya Das Prabhu is here. He has a comment.
Please.
I was willing to wait for others in the class, but since I've been preempted, thank you, Dharmasetu Prabhu, for a wonderful class. You mentioned in the verse, it says that those in the material world are all candidates for punishment. And I remember in your wonderful Bhakti program, as we read the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita about the divine and demoniac natures, casting sort of sidelong glances at the Prabhu's next to me, like he's describing my qualities. And we're very grateful that there's a program to fully engage ourselves in enthusiastically to try to get free from those qualities. But Krishna knows in that chapter that he's talking to everyone in the mature world who's reading it. We all have those asuram bhavam, bad qualities, at least I can say, firmly speaking for myself. And the Bhagavad Gita gives a way out of that. So anyway, thank you for the reminders and for the wonderful discourses of Virabhadra. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anything else? Yes.
It seems very difficult to believe that just by offering the lamp, all your sins will be eradicated, because we've been taught that, in Bhakti we have to offer a lot of our heart and the intention. That's what matters. So how is that possible that, we have such, amazing, not only us, but everybody who comes to the temple?
Okay. Well, there's two ways to answer that. One is, it is true that our devotional service and the result we get from it is dependent upon our consciousness. One person can come in and have no idea what's going on. They'll get a certain benefit, and someone else is coming with full devotion before the deities. They'll get a different, result. But another way is that, another understanding is, it is a fact that the month of Kartik is so special that Krishna opens it up. Jayapataka Maharaj gave the example here that just like if you go shopping, I always give this when there's ladies around, like Nordstrom's. Let's say Nordstrom says, for this month it's 95% off. You know how busy Nordstrom's going to be? 95% off. Nothing left in the store. But the point is, you see that, you go, let's take advantage. 95% off. So Kartik means like that. It's a sale on devotional service. All you have to do is do some devotional service in this month, offer a lamp, feed the devotees, give all these, and unbelievable, immeasurable advancement is made. And Krishna's just opened it up for that. So both two ways to answer that. Either way, whatever devotion we do have, we should do as much service as we can in the month of Kartik. Take advantage of it. Because even if we have a little tiny bit, if we do things in Kartik, it's multiplied a lot. So why not? Why not take advantage? Balaram.
Yeah, just a little comment in relation to that. And the Nectar of Devotion, which we just read the other day, Prabhupada was saying that even if someone who's not serious, they're not serious about Krishna consciousness, if they engage in the different devotional activities in the month of Kartik, and specifically Prabhupada says in Vrindavan, then the mercy of Krishna is more easily available. So usually you have to be pretty serious to get some special mercy, but anyways.
And who are these souls going to Vrindavan during Kartik, or who are those souls coming into this temple and offer a lamp? It's not like San Diego's lining up outside, 3-point-something million people. So anyone who just wanders into the temple and offers a lamp or takes prasadam in the month of Kartik, there's a backstory there. Yes?
What about the one Prabhu that came in?
Well, he came into a temple of Vishnu. He got some benefit.
Do you think that was random?
Well, random's an interesting word. Krishna's in the heart, directing the wanderings of all living entities. So if it is random or not, he benefited. And he left before he did something crazy. He sat down, right in front of Prabhupada, he sat in Sela Deities, he sat in Bhagavatam class, and who knows? What's that all about? It's pretty.
Like a lamp.
Okay. If he's still out there walking around, and he's capable of doing it, we'll see. But yes, there's benefit. So we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Kartik Bhatta ki jai.